Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Challen from Gun Guy Radio, and Brownells helps make this show possible. Selection, service, satisfaction. Find it all at Brownells. Please visit thisweekinguns.com/Brownells or visit any of our affiliate links on the website. Well, this week we have a returning panelist, John Chaos, YouTube Gun Guy. Hey, John.
Hey, Jake. How are you, brother?
Oh, busy week. Glad you guys could join me. Really bails me out. Really appreciate it.
No, it's always fun to be here, man. I like trying to be on top of what's going on in the firearms world. So this is a good way to do it and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick from Practically Tactical, also on the Firearms Radio Network. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Jake. Welcome back, buddy. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, good to be back. Good to be back in the swing of things, and good to be back on air live. So
I'm sure the listeners appreciate it. So
I don't know about that. I mean, those shows that you guys put out while I was gone on Gun Guy Radio and on this, I'm listening to them. I'm like, those are better than I could ever do. So, yeah, a few announcements. We have a new podcast, the Off-Road Podcast, on the Firearms Radio Network. The website is up, offroadpodcast.com, but it's not completely built out yet. The feed's not up. But if you want to check that show out, it's on the Firearms Radio Network master feed. So firearmsradio.tv/iTunes, or just search for Firearms Radio Network on whatever podcatcher app you're using, and look for the Firearms Radio Network logo, and that's the master feed. Greg from Tactical Paradise and his brother have put out that show. It's episode 1 and 2 are out, and I believe episode 3 will be dropping this week. And it's, sure, it's off-road, but, it's by a couple gun guys, and what gun guy doesn't like some good old off-roading? So it's really good stuff.
Yeah, as a former, or as I call it, a recovering car guy, I can tell you that just about every car person out there has a little guns in their blood. So that fits right in. That fits right in.
Yeah, for sure. So you can now contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping Amazon. I know you guys already shop Amazon, so you can pay the same amount you're already paying, and it gives a little bit to the network. So you can just click the Amazon banners on thisweekinguns.com or firearmsradio.tv, and it helps out the show a little bit. What about you guys? You guys shop on Amazon?
I do, all the time.
Well, here's what I can tell you for a big Amazon shopper, love Prime. Here's what I do is I have a bookmark on my bar for Amazon, and then what I do is I went to the website, and then I just right-clicked and copied the link, and then I just replaced my Amazon.com with the
affiliate link.
The affiliate link. There we go. So that way, when I click on my Amazon bookmark, it automatically goes through that and goes to the site. So
cool. That's smart.
Yeah, good idea. No, I appreciate it. It really helps out the network, helps keep these shows rolling. So let's get into the top stories. So this is on the Truth About Guns, and the title of it is from the Annuals of Police Militarization, the EPA shuts down MRAP transfers. Now, we've talked about this a little bit before on this show about all these police departments and sheriff departments getting these MRAPs from surplus military sales. And, an MRAP, I don't know, how would you describe an MRAP? It's a great big armored...
it's an armored personnel carrier.
Yeah, personnel carrier. It's they're crazy. I mean, they're built for driving down the streets of Iraq and getting hit by roadside bombs and stuff. They're just crazy. And so a lot of these, even locally around here, we've seen them. They're buying these up, and I think it's more of a toy than anything, really. But people are concerned that police are getting more and more militarized. but the EPA has apparently shut that down. They're cracking down. They pretty much have said that all sales have to cease going anywhere, military, any kind of sales. So what?
I think this is really weird. I don't understand. I guess the military vehicles don't necessarily adhere to the same standards as other road-going vehicles that stateside
Well,
police departments have to.
Right. I'm pretty sure they don't have catalytic converters or anything like that, so I don't think they have any kind of what do they call that? Environmental precautions on them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird that the EPA would step in and say this. I mean, I'm not against it. It's cool that these departments want to militarize. I know it's a really kind of galvanizing subject. People are either for it or against it, and I don't know. It's a very strange topic that you see. Your local sheriff in your hometown that you're accustomed to rolling around in an armored vehicle, and you say to yourself, well, why do they need that? And at the same time, you have to say, well, if something bad does happen and they want to step in and they're still on my side, then that's cool. But I don't know. Go ahead.
Right, and in reality, like sheriff's department and local police, they're always, knock on wood, always going to be on your side because they are you. I mean, they're just regular citizens like you, right?
You hope.
I mean,
I guess we're also
we probably have friends that are police or whatnot, and
we're also used to seeing these big cities with all kinds of corruption, and that's happened right down the street from where I live. In my hometown, I've seen corruption issues and things like that. So it's tough. It's tough to believe that they're always on your side. You want to hope, sure, and I think the biggest thing here is that all of us want to have our local PDs get these and then go play with them.
I will say no.
That's what I want. I just want them to let me drive it.
Well, I have 2 points. For one, I like the outcome, but not what caused. I mean, the EPA. I mean, it has so much power; it's insane. And what they can do to shut down different people and businesses is absolutely insane. And my brother drove MRAPs in Iraq. My brother trained on at Fort Hood before he went to Iraq, and that's what he drove this in Bradley's. And I actually just showed on my YouTube channel with him about MRAPs. What are they used for? I mean, they are designed to basically eat roadside bombs, IEDs, RPGs. How many times has any of those happened in the United States?
Very, very few times.
I would venture to say none. But the more thing you talked about was driving in Iraq was a lot of times, unless it was required, they're going down their death highways or whatever they're called. They didn't use them for the fact of mobility is terrible in these things. You said, especially over there, or especially in a very urban environment, you literally wipe out and scrape cars. So imagine if you took this into a big city, you're just going to do so much damage. It's insane to the amount of cars in the neighborhood, and I'm sure there's already enough damage to cars in the big city. So for me, I like how that they're being stopped. I don't like the reasons why, because I'm not a big fan of the EPA and their overreach and power that they have, but I don't think these things are needed for any sort of police at all.
I think you make a good point, John, about I think you said something about the size of the city, or you inferred that corruption like Chicago, like what if Chicago got a fleet of these or something like that. And I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about my I call it a small town. It's just under 50,000 people, which I don't know. That's probably a fairly okay-sized town, but I wouldn't think too much of it because it's a relatively small sheriff's department and small police force. But some corrupt city. Yes, Chicago is corrupt.
Oh yeah, all day that city's corrupt.
Yeah. All day long. And
I mean, they could almost roll out their own small military if they had something like this, and that's not cool to imagine. And I mean, the other thing that's important to know about these MRAPs is that they're getting these from the Department of Defense at insanely low prices. The U.S. government probably pays a couple $1 million for one of these vehicles, and then they sell them for, I don't know, $1,200.
Yeah,
Like,
for like $2,000.
It's absolutely insane. That's why all these departments are buying them up, because they're cheap. And if they ever need it, they have it. Sure, it's a great, the thought process is not flawed. But maybe if they allowed me to buy one, then I would be way more okay with it.
You're going to be that guy where people are going to take pictures of you. Oh, it's this guy taking up 3 parking spots.
I would paint this thing in an American flag motif and be that guy even more so. My local PD has a Hummer painted in an American flag. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely. They have no need for it, but it's hilarious every time you see it.
All right, so should we talk about the Virginia gun store that we probably
Yes.
don't want to visit?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's go down that road.
So, a Virginia Citizens Defense League member brought this to the attention of AmmoLand. He was at the store. He saw a sign that said "No loaded guns" on the front door, and the person that saw the sign sent an email to the store and just wanted to confirm their policy, asking, basically, he wanted to ask, does that mean I can't conceal carry in your store, or what does that mean exactly? And well, here's what he wrote. He said, "Hi, someone told me that you guys have a sign on the door that prohibits the lawful carry of firearms by customers unless they are law enforcement." And then the I guess writer of this article inserts that, "Here I will note that Ed should have said the lawful carry of loaded firearm by customers." And then it continues, "However, this would have been a good opportunity for the gun store to settle the record straight." Anyways, the guy in the letter says, "I just want to confirm that before I put the word out to 30,000 Virginia gun owners." And this was sent by the founder of Virginia Open Carry. And then this plays into the response, but below his name and the email signature, it says, "Executive member of Virginia Citizens Defense League, NRA life member and instructor, and GOA member." And then the response he got back from the gun store says, "You need to add this to your list of titles: loser, idiot, in desperate need of life, a lifelong member of the Tiny Dick Club, just plain stupid." Now that better describes you. And then it says, "Rick Baker, owner." And it says, "I'm usually there every day, so should you drop by and see me, little man."
Yeah, this is absurd. The article states that a lot of gun stores have a no loaded guns policy, aka don't pull your gun out of your holster while it's still loaded. Because you got to try holsters, you want to feel it, whatever. There are plenty of reasons, but this guy's response is absurd. I mean, the founder of Virginia Open Carry, he was looking for a problem. He sent this email with the tone, like the tone is standoffish, is probably the best way to put it. He could have done a better job wording it. I just want to see if that's true before I tell 30,000 people. Like, dude, you're on a high horse. Step down a second.
It's very passive aggressive, right?
Right. Extremely passive aggressive. Now, the owner of this store, which is called Absolutely Outdoors in Virginia, that's hilarious enough, because the signage on the outside looks like they stole signs from other stores. It looks like a greeting cards next to an outdoors place. But anyway, this owner is just asking for trouble. I mean, obviously this made it to AmmoLand, so I won't be surprised if that sign either gets chained or he just sits in this store all day by himself pouting, nobody likes me, that kind of mentality. That's what it sounds like.
This is the perfect example. We've talked about it on a bunch of shows before of why these, unfortunately, not all of them. I don't want to classify all of them, but how there's just these terrible stigmas that come with like smaller gun shops and just being condescending to normal or new gun owners. This is the type of responses that set that
What?
bad stuff up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
but the other thing
so-
is he blew the opportunity to be the better person. He could have set the guy straight, done it in a proper, cordial way, and blew it. Just blew it.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. So this is on gunsavedlives.com, and this one's titled, "This idiot is not a responsible gun owner and is not one of ours." And this is a guy by the name of Todd Liu on Facebook who posted images on Target's Facebook page. Now, if you remember last week, we talked about Open Carry Texas that was open carrying rifles in Target. Well, this guy's in Target taking pictures of himself with his carry gun drawn and out, and even one of him next to his daughter with his carry gun out and drawn. And he said, what was his statement? "You can't protect me and my family, nor replace them in an event of cycle murderers. One of my if one of my family members are murdered. My right is my right, and no government agency or corporation can protect them from violence." Target.
I want to commit violence against this guy. And that's terrible to say, but this is not what you do as a responsible gun owner or trying to promote the Second Amendment. For one, you don't take a gun out and literally not even have your finger off the trigger. In one of the pictures, it's like kind of on it. Then there's him posing with a picture of his kid and the gun out of the holster. This guy is, I can't say the word, but this is the opposite, and that states in the article. This is the exact opposite of what a responsible firearm ownership is. If I'm a concealed carrier, which I am, I'm not going to take it out and wave it around to try to change Target's mind, because for one, taking a gun out and walking around the store is how this happened in the first place. So
He looks like he's ready to rob the place.
Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like. This is just don't stop being like the Westboro Church of the Second Amendment. This is what this guy is doing, and it hurts everybody. You're not helping anybody. You're not promoting the Second Amendment. You're not promoting, your civil right to self-defense. You're not promoting anything.
I would really like to see some of his other Facebook posts to see what kind of person this guy is, because a lot of people are claiming that he's planted there by like Moms Demand Action, that kind of group. People are saying that they hired this guy and he went in and I guess posed as a Second Amendment supporter, and they knew, of course, they knew what this would do. So people are claiming that it's a plant. I'm not sure I believe that. I think this guy's just a moron. A lot of times, as some would say, Open Carry Texas takes something too far, and that's clearly what this guy is doing.
I think he's just stupid, and that's something too about there's so many conspiracy theories now and black flags and all this stuff, and I just keep telling people, you realize there's a lot of stupid people in this country, right? There are a lot of stupid people, and unfortunately, I think this guy's one of them, and he's just an idiot. I don't.
That's true.
MSNBC shocker poll. It says nearly 9 in 10 support constitutional carry. This was apparently a poll that was ran. I guess I don't have the date. The story date is July 6th, but it says the question asked was, "What do you think? Do you think people should be allowed to carry guns in public?" And 88%. At the time, there was over 10,000 votes. 88% said yes.
The actual poll is still up, and it's still 88%. It's 87,000 people voted that the Second Amendment guarantees it. Then we've got just under 8,000 that voted no, it's too dangerous at 8%, and then another 4% voted only for self-defense. It's just under 4,000 people.
I think we know where Todd Lowe voted. No, I saw this floating around Facebook and all the gun pages promoting it, and I would hope that there's other regular, like, this gives me like a little glimmer of hope that maybe there's normal people that, again, aren't necessarily involved or haven't picked a side, that just says, hey, it's in the Constitution, I support that. I don't know, it gives me a little glimmer of hope to that. I don't know, I could be wrong. John, what do you think?
It was a poll that got pushed by all kinds of gun people, so I'm not surprised that it's heavily skewed in our direction. Now, I also think that the most of the public agrees with this. You know, I think that a lot of people are in favor of the Second Amendment, and they are in favor of being able to carry a gun in that kind of situation. Now, I want to say this: if Moms Demand Action or some other group, some left group. I hate saying that left stuff. I don't like the left and right. That I don't like the way that goes. But if somebody on the other side pushed this, it would be very easy for them to skew this poll. I think polls in general about firearms are silly because it's only a sampling of who sees it.
No.
And just like, when MSNBC goes out on the street in like downtown LA and they say, "Hey, are you for open carry of assault rifles?" Because that's how they would say it. They would go, "Are you okay with people carrying assault rifles on the street?" Every person that they went up to, because they would filter it, they would go, "Okay, that guy is definitely on our side. Let's go ask him." That kind of thing. That's how good they would skew it. So, I mean, yeah, it's good to see that, we as firearms owners got a positive poll on a site that's generally against what we do, but I don't know that the poll is super accurate. It's cool to see, but I don't chalk it up as like a huge win or anything like that.
Well, I believe it's 90% of 100% of polls are biased.
Exactly.
I made that up, but everybody would believe it. So
right.
that explains polls right there.
90%. Their next
background checks.
Their next poll is going to be: should you be allowed to brandish and target?
Todd Lowe, yes.
All right. Well, the next story is 3 next-gen training simulators for military use. And first one they talk about here is a laser shot, and then there's also the Milo range and the Megget training systems. John, have you ran across any of these before?
I honestly have not. I don't I've never trained with any military facilities or anything like that. But I love this. I love the fact that our guys are getting good training, because if you look back over the years, a lot of older soldiers will tell you that, man, they wish they had better training and they weren't prepared. That's one of the biggest things is these guys want to be mentally prepared, and they want to be able to handle all kinds of situations that they're going to be presented with. Of course, it makes sense. Any rational person would want that. So to see our military stepping it up and offering, cool stuff like this, I wish it was more readily available for civilians, of course, but I think it's awesome.
Right, and I guess I should explain. These are it's almost melding video games in real life, where you have these big screens that are in these rooms that you actively move around, and some of these are even set up for live fire scenarios, and other ones are simulation shoot houses and stuff.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, isn't it? And so yeah, it doesn't get much more real than that, and they can program infinite scenarios, I'm sure, and whatnot, and it's at high def, and everything. So it's almost like the real thing, and I guess that's the point, trying to get closest to the real thing as possible. And this, allows them to do it with their real firearms in some scenarios, and even real ammo, which is crazy.
Yeah, the Simunitions, I found out the other day that Simunition is a brand. I didn't know that. But that type of ammo, that ammo that's got like a little paint capsule or a marking capsule, and it's fired, at reasonable speeds, out of pistols or rifles or whatever. I think that kind of training is the best kind of training. You're getting something shot at you. You know what I mean? And it's coming quick, and it's not going to feel good. So I think this type of training mixed with all kinds of other, realistic training is a super positive thing, and I hope that it makes its way out into the civilian market. Like we've seen the closest example to something like this, I think, as far as handguns go, is the handguns and the rifles is the CERT stuff from Next Level Training.
Mm-hmm.
The laser pistols and the AR bolt. That's in this vein of thought, with this laser shot and all that kind of stuff. I think that's, as a community, we're moving more into technological advances and things like that, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. That's cool.
Honey, I know what we're going to do with our basement now.
Boom, make it happen.
Yep.
Now there's some, what is it? I think it's Gander Mountains that have some, more civilian versions of this. Have you guys ever been to one of those?
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Here in, I don't live in Madison, but at the Madison one, they have it for archery. They have it for archery. They have a whatever screen and stuff. They have that.
I think I saw a certain big trainer working with them and trying to improve it and showing it off. And I think that's cool. For the civilian side, I'm pretty sure you're right about Gander Mountain. It may actually be either Gander Mountain or Academy.
I think it's Gander Mountain. I think the one I saw was in Florida, but it wouldn't surprise me if multiples had it. But yeah, it's cool stuff, and I can't wait to try it myself someday, hopefully.
Side note about big box stores having that sort of thing in their facility when they can't necessarily have a gun range, or if they do both, that's a home run. That's a huge draw for people. Like if my local Cabela's or whatever gun store, big place got that, I would be there all the time trying it out and I gotta work my way through this scenario, and then it's like you said earlier, it's melding video games and real life, and as a gamer, I love that. I think that's cool.
Right, because it makes it a lot of us have done IDPA, and they try to do self-defense scenarios and stuff, but this just makes it that much more real, but it also makes it really easy. You're not having to set up real targets and real plates and in most cases use real ammo and stuff like that. It just makes it so much more accessible and easy for picture 10 years down the road, if maybe we can't have I've said before, I think one of our biggest hurdles is not having enough gun ranges, but maybe 10 years down the road we could have virtual ranges that would still teach us the fundamentals, the safety rules, still handle the real firearms, but could be in locations where you can't have a real range.
Well, I'm pretty sure, wasn't one of the loud, obnoxious booths at SHOT Show, didn't they have something like this, but then their technology had it to where it interacted with a real target as well. So you'd shoot something and something would fall that was a physical item. I didn't go investigate in there because that's not what I was looking for, but I'm pretty sure there was one. I just remember one really loud, obnoxious booth at SHOT Show. Not that place was
only
quiet.
one.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there was a place that they had a fairly large size booth and had something with this, but it was also mixed with real objects, or you could shoot real objects and the screen or something like that.
That sounds cool.
10 years from now, this is going to be, I'm sure. Look at the Xbox, whatever the camera thing is. I can't have an Xbox, but what's the camera
that was
thing?
such a defeated way to say that.
It is.
I can't have an Xbox.
Nope.
Bill Gates say you can't have one, or what?
My wife.
Oh.
But what's the camera thing? Doesn't that track your body and motions and?
Yeah, and there are guys that have used that camera on PCs and stuff like that. You can modify the internal firmware and create software that works with it, and create motion tracking and all that kind of stuff, for video. And I'm sure they could use those sorts of cameras to track what you're doing in like a shoot house, and create a scenario based on that.
10, 20 years from now, this will all be totally insane. I bet, just awesome, insane.
So the Army is looking to dump the 9mm pistol. Well, that's probably something you've heard before, but they're actually getting pretty serious about it, because on July 29th, the service will open its doors to gun makers to figure out how to make it happen for the next gen military handgun. Now, currently it's the Beretta M9. And this article says there's 200,000 M9s currently in service. Doesn't that seem like a low number to you guys?
I honestly have no clue how many.
Because it says later on that this new, whatever they pick to replace the M9, they're planning on buying 400,000.
It just says inventory, though. Does that include issued guns?
Yeah, I don't know. It may not.
And I know that not everybody in the service carries a sidearm. Like some guys are actually given a choice whether they want to carry it or not. So maybe they don't need a ton. I don't know.
So a few reasons for moving away from the M9 is that they want to move away from the 9mm. They want to move to possibly a 357 SIG, a 40 or 45 ACP, because they're constantly getting feedback saying that the 9 just does not perform in combat situations. I think the other thing you have to consider here, I don't think the article mentions it, but due to some international treaty or law, that the military can't use hollow points. They can only use full, like wad cutters or full
like ball ammo.
Ball ammo, right? Metal jacket, or yeah. So that kind of limits the effectiveness of the 9mm in certain situations as well. I don't know. This has been brought up quite a bit, though, and apparently they're really going to make a decision here the next year or so. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on for years.
I mean, ever since they adopted the Beretta, really, it's been going on.
Yeah, people are saying, "Oh, 9mm is not enough." Sure, maybe not, but I'm not sure that any other handgun round is going to be that much more effective. I mean, they all. There's a classic image that floats around that shows that just about every type of handgun ammo penetrates about 12 to 16 inches.
Yeah, about the same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty funny. I want to point out something. I think it would be very, very interesting if they started carrying either 357 SIG or 40. They've carried 45 in the past with the M1911s back in the day, and if they went to something like a 40 or a 357 SIG, especially the 357, you would see those sales go through the roof. Oh, the military! I gotta get that. They're using it now. That's what I gotta carry.
Yep.
Well, to me, the most logical ammo choice for them would be the 357 SIG, because it's got the highest velocity, it's got the most potential to pierce armor out of all four of them,
and the recoil is actually really manageable on a 357 SIG. I don't know if I'd be interested to see what type of gun they would go with chambered in that.
Well, and what makes me worried about this whole thing is that they want it to be a modular weapon system. Well, what the heck does that mean? And
yeah,
all I think about is the some people like them, but the SIGs that are modular that you can,
the P250, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, some guys like them. It's basically like the firing mechanism, the fire control group is the serialized portion in those guns, and you can swap it from frame to frame and use a different slide and barrel combo. I mean, the idea is cool, but I don't know that anybody's going to get it to a point where it's acceptable for military abuse. I would really like to see them carry something like my HK or a SIG or a Glock. I would like to see them step away from the stuff that they've carried in the past. I'd like to see them try something new.
I would be interested to see if they're going to allow polymer framed handguns into this competition. I'm sure the military probably will end up not going with it or disclude people from it because of that, which I think is a terrible decision. I mean, ask people that run with the tons of gear, man. Think how much even 8 ounces they would take if they're going to carry a handgun. But I mean, to me, it's just like, I mean, when you look at overall of handgun calibers, it's handguns don't really quote unquote kill people. Yes, they do. I'm not saying that they don't, but if you look at compared to a rifle, there's just no comparison. And if they're trying to find this perfect bullet or this perfect caliber with this perfect gun, I don't think you're going to find it no matter what caliber, unless you just start carrying, 50 AE magazine.
I would love to see that.
A Deagle that can carry, 15 rounds.
I'm working on it. No, I'm kidding. I think it would be interesting to see if they did the polymer. I would prefer. I think, like you said, I think a lot of guys would. Another thing to consider is, I'm sorry, I absolutely blanked.
Well, they could consider maybe using some of the same ammo they already have and go with the double tap single shot 223.
Oh my God.
Oh wow! What a terrible, terrible gun that is. What a terrible gun.
I think what would be nice though is in this modular is, for example, Glock, okay, or the SIG, 250 or the 320. Okay, make it to where you can switch up between you go from 9, 357 SIG, 40, and pretty much it gives you that modularity aspect, so you can use existing ammo if somebody wants to carry something different. I mean, that's really got to feed into the polymer handguns market, you'd think, but it's the military, so you never know.
What I was going to say earlier is that I know a lot of military guys would say, kind of what you were hinting at earlier, that the handgun is a tool to get to your rifle, and it's a backup gun. So I don't know what kind of testing they're putting these through, but when it's all said and done, I will be really interested to see what comes out of it. We've had guns like the FNX 45, the HK 45, and I know Glocks have been involved. There's been a lot of cool guns that have come out of military testing, and I would hope that some new stuff may come out of this as well.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what the next year or so holds on this. So, all right, let's go to my home state of Illinois. Hear how excited I am.
Yes.
The city of Chicago, which is again ordered to pay the NRA's legal fees. So the NRA has been ordered to, or not the NRA, sorry, the city of Chicago has been ordered to reimburse the NRA $940,000. That's right, almost $1 million in legal fees incurred by the NRA when they challenged the Chicago's handgun ban and ban on gun sales. So
that's all right. They'll just embezzle the money anyway.
There's no money to embezzle. There's no money to embezzle. You guys are like.
Well, they were previously ordered to reimburse $600,000. So over $1.5 million at this point they owe the NRA, which is kind of funny, I think.
Do you think they'll ever pay him?
I don't know what happens. I mean,
or is the NRA going to have to send debt collectors? Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I mean, seriously, what happens if they refuse to pay? I mean, do they impound the city? Or maybe the NRA could take over Chicago then.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine?
They're given ownership of the city of Chicago.
They walk in with a giant key, one of those big fake gold keys. I mean, we were talking about corruption earlier, and if there is any prime example of a corrupt city, it's Chicago.
Mhm.
I mean, the mayor. Who was the mayor before Rahm Emanuel? It was like a family, wasn't it? There was like a long-standing family of mayors, and
Oh,
they were,
Yeah, I'm totally drawing a blank.
you guys
they
are
had,
letting me down.
they had the same last name as the famous Detroit Pistons coach during the 80s.
Yeah, that helps.
Daly.
That's really,
Daly.
really obscure.
Daly. I know. Daly. That was their name.
well, it was the Dailies that originally started to screw Illinois over with. Yeah, it was that guy's father, I believe, in the '60s that got the FOID card in the waiting period. Things passed
That's
in the late
firearms.
60s.
Oh, what firearms owner ID card, something like
Yeah.
that, Floyd?
Yeah.
Yeah. We here in the free states don't have things like that.
Well, and I think that's about the same time that they made rifle hunting illegal. You can only hunt with slug shotguns currently in Illinois.
Even in the southern part?
Any part.
Wow.
Wow. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm assuming the NRA is not getting expected. I mean, I'm sure Mike Tyson has a better credit rating than the city of Chicago. So I would just expect them not to get paid.
Mike Tyson. Wow. What a great guy. He's just so entertaining. Like unintentional. That's one of those people that's unintentionally entertaining.
It's spinal.
Okay, so we're talking about the city of Chicago owing the NRA, their nemesis, over $1 million in legal fees alone. Let's get a quick vote here. Who thinks they're actually going to pay them back? No, I'm looking at the audience watching and listening to this, and absolutely nobody raised their hand. They're not going to pay them.
You know what they should do if they do ever get that money? The NRA should hold like shooting clinics around the city.
Use that money to fund firearms training in the city of Chicago.
Yep. So Tracking Point patents technique to disable guns near schools and gun-free zones. So Tracking Point, if you don't know, is the company that has made a doohickey scope that you can put on your rifle.
Is that the technical name?
That is. Yeah, look it up. Anyways, it's a scope that will it will basically laze your target, and then it will compute the distance, the wind, the humidity, and everything, and tell you exactly where to hold and then when to shoot to hit your target. But so very high tech. I think they for a brief period had a deal with, what was it, Remington, where they were selling some factory rifles with them.
I don't know.
With tracking points on them.
I don't think anybody bought them.
No.
Well, we had a story a while back where they were no longer offering those. So
nobody bought them.
Yeah. so now they're patenting this technology that will disable rifles such as the Tracking Point smart rifles within school zones.
This just in, nobody has any more Tracking Point stock. They are going out of business. They are the only people that support this company are gun owners. It's it's like they're like, no. You guys don't know what you're talking about. We're gonna disable. It's the smart gun thing all over again.
Oh, well, do you know what? I just figured it out. Todd Lowe is a real person, and he works at Tracking Point.
Well,
seriously, that's the same type of thinking. Is you have to stop trying to police people or sit there and basically going out and doing this is saying this gun is bad. That's what it is. This gun works in certain areas, so the gun is bad.
The best part about this whole thing is that these Tracking Point rifles are, I think the bolt action one is 30-40 grand with options and whatnot. And the AR is probably $15,000. I mean, these are absurdly expensive things, and that's all they can only disable the ones that have the technology on them. So, are they expecting the people that buy these things to go into this sort of area and with these firearms, and then on top of that, are they expecting to need to disable them?
Yeah, aren't they in a way saying that our customers are possibly criminals?
I mean, the amount of people.
This would be a better I'll get hate mail for this, but this would be a better idea for like a company like High Point where criminals actually do use their phone.
I was going to say no one's going to buy these for that. They'll go out and buy a High Point. It's just
I mean, you
that's,
could buy 100 high points for this. Let's
100
talk
million.
about the demographics that this could possibly affect. Now, obviously, we all agree that this is a terrible idea for any gun company to do. That's why the smart gun company got absolutely lambasted. But let's the actual demographics here. Let's say out of 100% of firearms owners, there's probably 0.01% that bought one of these, right? A very, very small portion of the market bought a tracking point rifle. Okay, let's go even further. Let's say how many of those people are going to take that rifle and carry it into a gun-free zone near a school or something like that where it's posted. Okay, that's even smaller percentage. And then let's talk about the possibility of those same people that took it into this area doing something bad with it and needing to have it disabled by the parent company. I mean, first of all, the police have to know that's what kind of rifle they have in order for them to contact somebody to disable it, unless Tracking Point magically convinces every police department to somehow switch and get the capability to disable these guns. I mean, this is so absurd.
No, you're taking it too far, John. It'll just be like
No.
like the invisible fence for your dog. They'll just put an invisible fence around the schools, and then you walk your smart gun over it, and it won't work anymore.
Well, then basically, if they do this, then doesn't this say that what doesn't matter what you are doing with your rifle, that they can track you 24/7 then?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So for all those that maybe are on the fence about buying a tracking point, do you want to buy a gun to where somebody can find you 24/7?
Well, what's really funny about this is that it disables it if you're within 1,000 feet of a school. Well, I hate to break it to you, but these guns can shoot over 1,000 feet away.
There's that, and what about the sorry sap that lives within 1,000 feet of a school and bought one of these?
Right.
I mean, and you made a very good point about the GPS tracking. I guess they could shut it down via GPS if they really wanted to. But not only, you were saying they know where you are, they know where your guns are. If let's fall back to that the government is coming for my guns. Let's fall back to that. If they want to, they know exactly where it is. They will just come get it, and that's the sad reality of this. I henceforth will be naysaying Tracking Point until unless they do something miraculous. This company, it was absurd before. The concept, cool. It's a neat concept, absurdly expensive, and now they just crapped all over everybody that was supporting them.
So you're going to officially go on the record and say right now you're not going to purchase one.
Correct. I'm not only not going to purchase one, I may in fact badmouth them at any chance.
Excellent.
All right. Well, let's move on, and because this close to a Tracking Point sponsorship on this show, and it's all about. So let's talk about Glock, who we love.
We do.
Glock is Glock considering new colors is a question. So apparently a little while back, Glock sent out a survey asking if they consider purchasing a Glock with different frame colors. The choices were Flat Dark Earth, Desert Sand, OD Green, and Sniper Gray. They also asked what frame color you would choose for a gun if it was a gift for a woman. And the choices, if it was a gift for a woman, was black, pink, purple, Tiffany blue, Flat Dark Earth, Desert Sand, OD Green, and Sniper Gray. So what would you guys vote?
I voted I want a pink one.
Okay.
So if I ever have to use it, then I get the pleasure of bragging that I shot somebody with a pink gun.
Don't they already do FDE and OD Green?
They have done it in the past. I don't know if they're currently running them. What's really weird is their Flat Dark Earth is like brown. It's brown. and their desert sand is what everybody else considers flat dark earth. But either way, I would love to see them produce all of these colors. I think options are the greatest thing ever. You know,
Well, it's so easy for a company that injects polymer. I mean, really, they could do it in any color, and the cost differential would be minimal, I would think, as long as they did big enough runs.
One thing you have to consider is that some of the pigmentation actually changes the chemical makeup of the polymer itself, so they may have to adjust the formula. Yeah, if it's depending on what they use for pigmentation, it may actually change the formulation of the polymer itself. So that may require.
Gun may be actually sissier in reality.
Well, I'm sure they're not going to release something without making sure it's good. But you're right. I mean, they've seen. The reason they're asking this, they've seen a huge trend in people getting their guns Cerakoted, Duracoated, whatever, spray painted, and customization, and they want a piece of that market. And if they can, grab a huge chunk of the market that's not out there right now, like look at full size pistols right now, and who's making a sniper gray one? Nobody. HK did it in the past. They're not doing it right now. They called it urban gray. Who's making pink, purple? Nobody. They're all. You can get 22s in that. Yeah, but they don't do. Well, I guess the LC9 does come in purple. Excuse me, the LC9 and LC380 come in colors. Other than that, I don't think anybody's doing it.
Well, there's a lot. I think there's a few 380s, but yeah, when you get into the larger calibers, like I think Diamondback, you can get like purples and pinks.
That company's still in business?
Well, yeah, Taurus owns them, of course.
Oh God, are you serious? They do?
Yeah.
Oh man, no wonder everything makes sense.
I don't know. I think it's funny that they put black on the list too. Like for me, it just seems like if Glock was going to send this out, they just put the black on there and that's it. Like that'd be your only color option. That just seems like a Glock thing to do. Well, you want a single stack 9mm? Here's one 380. You're welcome.
They put black on there because they want people to be able to pick that old standard. You know what I mean? They want a little bit of confirmation that they are doing something right.
Yeah. All I'm saying is I figured they just would have sent out with the only option to pick was black.
There's three radio buttons here for each color. Like I would definitely purchase this. I might purchase it. I would not purchase this color on the survey. And what you're suggesting is that I would definitely purchase this, and your only choice is black.
Yes.
That's the Glock survey. You know what? I would have agreed with you 2 years ago, but Glock's changing, and I love it. I freaking love it. I don't own a Glock. I don't prefer Glocks, but I love to see a juggernaut like Glock changing their ways.
Hey, it means they're actually looking into the consumers, which is good.
What it means is they lost market share and they want that money back.
Of all the colors, yeah, a flat dark earth that is actually flat dark earth would be nice. I'm not too big on OD green. Sniper gray would be kind of cool. And I don't know why, but the Tiffany blue, kind of like.
I would really like to have a sniper gray with like a stainless slide, like a 19C or a 34C, like a ported model. That'd be slick. But hey, it's never gonna happen.
No, Cerakote is the way to go. I mean, I have a Cerakoted gun and I love it.
All right, we're running up against our time here, so let's do one last story. The Senate votes 82-12 to advance bill protecting hunting and shooting on federal lands. Now, this is right. This is
do a small round of applause for that. Just
I know, golf clap. Yeah, I mean, this looks like it has very positive support on both sides of the aisle. It voted 82-12, bipartisan support, and there's also a similar bill in the House, I guess. Now, how cool would it be to get this to pass before this president is out of office? And then if that happens, and if no negative legislation goes through, which doesn't look like it may, the only two gun-type legislations that would have passed during the 8 terms of this president, or 8 years of this president, were, pro-gun. The first one that I'm referring to is the National parks carry law. That was, I think it was on another bill, but allows you to carry in national parks. And then to have, something that is very helpful for us, like this pass as well, I'd call that a win.
I think this is absolutely fantastic. Now, I had heard, I don't know how true this is, but I had heard that this had some backhanded stuff inserted in the bill. Obviously we'll see if that's true, but face value, let's talk strictly face value and what we're seeing here. Yeah. And I think this is absolutely fantastic to see, support of not just traditional, American values like hunting. I think the fact that they're setting aside the cash to do it on federal land. I mean, that's
right, and it's going to put more target ranges in place on public land, and more target shooting in general, more hunting, more fishing. It's going to end the ban on fishing gear made out of lead components,
which is all kinds of sinkers and this and that.
Oh, it's everything. Yeah, I mean, half of my tackle box has lead in it. Come on.
Right.
But and it's also going to allow people to import their polar bear trophies from Canada.
Hey, that's cool. Apparently, people had some that were harvested before the polar bear was put on the endangered species list, and this will allow them to import them into the U.S. I don't know how many people that affects, because that's a very, very specific thing. But hey, that's cool.
What? I got like a dozen up there. Come on.
I think Peter Palma's getting a new mask.
He's getting it imported from Canada.
I don't know. Here's how I mean, I think it's great. I'm worried there with what John talked about is throwing stuff in on the back end there. But if it goes through as just as this, I bet you the president will sign it so he can just come out and say, hey, Second Amendment was important to the, he won't come out and say it's important for Second Amendment rights and everybody should have a gun. He'll just come out and say, I support the Second Amendment right for hunting, I think he'll kind of do it as his.
He'll come out and he'll play up the, because part of the reason this has bipartisan support is it has a lot of conservation language in it. And he'll just talk about the conservation part of it, about preserving the national parks and blah, 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 and blah. He won't even mention, expanded hunting and
I support traditional American values and conservation in the United States on federal land and blah, 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 blah. I have giant ears and I am a horrible person. He would say that verbatim.
All right. But yeah, I'm excited to see if this actually gets farther than it currently is. It looks like it might have legs on it this time. They've tried to advance this in the past. Now, as far as you saying there might be hidden things in the back end and stuff like that, well, we'll just have to keep an eye out. Whenever something like that does pop up, you should be on the NSSF mailing list, the National Shooting Sports Foundation mailing list, because you'll get it instantly if something is pro or anti, Second Amendment. You'll know about it firsthand from them. So
I get emails from them like every day.
I get like 3 a day. Everybody needs a right to legislators, so just tell them to read the bill. I know that sounds stupid, but people need to actually read it.
It's amazing how people get away with not doing their jobs as a federal employee.
Isn't that a definition of a federal employee?
There you go. Somebody got it.
All right. Well, yeah, so someone that works for the government. So Brownells helps make this show possible, the leading supplier of firearms, accessories, gun parts, and gunsmithing tools. Find it all at Brownells. Please visit thisweekinguns.com/Brownells. And you can also contribute by shopping Amazon now, so don't forget to shop Amazon through clicking the banners on thisweekinguns.com. Well, we're to the pick of the week section where we pick a gun, accessory, gear, gadget, whatever, to highlight. So I guess I'll go ahead and go first. And this is something that showed up on the firearms blog yesterday. It's a GoPro Sportsman's mount. And so GoPro finally has a mount for the shooting enthusiast. So this retails for about $70, give or take a little bit, and it's actually GoPro brand, which is good, but
Mhm.
it's basically a mount that's compatible for Picatinny and similar rails.
They also have it's like a combo mount. They also have it set up so that it can go around fishing poles and bows and things like that. It's what we as GoPro owners and firearms enthusiasts, what we've been all been looking for. Everybody wanted a Picatinny mount. There was companies out there making them all over the place, but now to have an official one, of course, you got to get that one.
Yeah, you're right. It is very versatile. Modular. It can adjust from zero point 0.4 inch diameter to zero point 0.9 inch diameter, or 10 millimeter to 23 millimeter, which makes it very versatile. And it's GoPro quality, I guess. Some of the mounts out there's aftermarket, but the quality might be suspect on some of those. But there on GoPro's website, there's even pictures of it mounted to shotguns and bows, and let's see here, someone with a underwater, what were those called? Dart guns, not dart guns.
Spear gun?
Spear gun, yeah.
Harpoon.
Harpoon. Is that what the kids call them nowadays?
Man, the harpoons! She's a big one. I'm sorry, that was mean. I don't even know who I'm talking about. I think this is cool, man.
Yeah.
It's good to see GoPro appreciating what we do enough to make something like this. I mean, I know all kinds of guys are already using these in their camera arsenals, especially with the YouTube crowd. A lot of guys use them, and it's cool to see expansion of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they're not afraid to have guns and their gear on their website, which is good.
Yeah.
So, John, what do you have?
I have something called Tech Shield Elite. Now, obviously, there are hundreds and hundreds of CLPs out there. This is considered a CLP, but I'm not necessarily going to promote it as such. I did a video of this on my YouTube channel, cleaning my 50 Beowulf, and what's special about this is that it works as a dry lubricant. Now, it goes on wet. They use water to carry whatever actual lubricant is in here, and it does work okay as a cleaning product. But where this stuff shines is that it's super, super slick. And now I spoke to the Tech Shield Elite reps ages ago, and it was something that they had found in some other business. I think it was either aviation or machining or something, and they said, oh, this may work for a gun lube, and turns out it's absolutely fantastic. You spray it on, let it soak for a little bit, and then wipe it off, and it's super, super slick. There's no oily feel, nothing like that. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier, and he said that this stuff is actually good for carry guns because it repels lint and stuff like that a little bit better than petroleum-based products that kind of dust will cling to. He said it's great in that sort of situation, and like I said, it's slick. Honestly, this is one of my top 3 lubes, and it's a CLP, but as a lube, this stuff is fantastic. Tech Shield Elite.
I don't want to know your top 2.
Ha 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 ha.
So, yeah, it almost makes me think of like Rain-X for your windshield, like where it's
I guess that's in the same kind of vein. I haven't like tested it in like moisture rich, like in the rain or anything. I haven't tested it like that, but as far as just feel, I've put it on the HK, I put it on the Beowulf now, I put it on a few other guns, and it's just slick. It just feels like the gun's running faster. That's impressive,
Yeah, I'll have to try that out. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure if you hit them up, they're more than willing to share the product with new fans for sure.
So, Nick, what do you have for us?
I have the Mech Armor Defense TAC Ops 1 charging handle. And this is for those guys out there that, I don't know. This is one of those products that you get that you don't necessarily expect it to be like knock your socks off kind of thing, because it's not like it's some super pretty. It's not like a beautiful. It's not like the Rainier Arms Raptor just has a sexy gun appeal to it. This is not that. But what this charging handle does have is function, reliability above everything. I mean, all my buddies have Raptors. They're a good product, but man, this guy is just fantastic. I mean, it's built out of 75, is it 7075 T6 billet aluminum, but it's ambidextrous, and here's what really makes it unique in that aspect is most charging handles either they'll have a pin on both sides, or basically they'll have the lever on each side. Basically, this has it on your traditional side for right-handed shooters, and then on the back. So there's one roll pin that is enlarged with a 7-pound spring. But what's really big about this is so there's no additional cutting. There's no areas that will weaken the charging handle for making it ambidextrous, and that's what really shines about it. Another really big thing I've noticed about this is no matter which way that you use the charging handle, you get a true pull. It's straight back. You're not feeling any resistance in charging your firearm, and that's another really big thing about it. So it doesn't matter if you charge it traditionally, if you pinch the back here for like a left-handed charge, everything is true, and it just makes it really nice, especially if you're doing a quick reload with the bolt closed for some reason, or you're clearing out some sort of issue. And it's absolutely large. They have another model too that is called their CQB model, which is a lot slimmer and lower profile. But this really makes it to where if you ever have an issue, you can definitely clear it and get everything you need into it to rip out a double feed or a jam or something. Absolutely fantastic product. It's $68. So there's by far more expensive charging handles out there. Again, you can use this right or left-handed. The design and functionality of this charging handle is fantastic. So Mech Armor Defense, TAC Ops 1.
That's a good value, it seems like. So
they're also, of course, military guys, retired Army sniper, and they're a good bunch of freedom-loving guys. I can tell you that much.
Cool.
All right. Well, that about gets us to the end of the show. So, John, YouTube, what's going on?
Like I said earlier, I just put out a video showing off the Tech Shield Elite. The videos I put out this week were, a lot of my guns are just absolutely filthy from shooting them all the time. So it was cleanup week. I cleaned the Chaos Carbine with the the Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons Cleaning Kit, or I don't know, something like that. It's a 3-part system. That was cool. Put that video out earlier in the week. Today was the Tech Shield Elite video. Got a whole bunch more videos coming, as I've been saying, and yeah, a lot of fun things in the future. Yeah, I same old, rocking and rolling. Lots of new stuff.
Your 50 Beowulf is just one sexy gun. That wood and stainless steel look is just—it's a beautiful gun.
Thank you. Every time I post a picture or a video of that gun, I get somebody saying that I should either paint the forend or have it dipped or whatever, and nobody seems to want to give me the money to do it. No, but seriously, the 50 Beowulf is not everybody's cartridge. It's not for everybody, but it is one of my favorites. I love half-inch bullets, and that cartridge is just so much fun to shoot, especially suppressed. I mean, yeah, that's fun.
Very cool. And once again, John, where can people find you online?
You can find me at youtube.com/chaos311clarity, and Chaos311 Clarity is me everywhere, every kind of social media. So if you want to look me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, that's where you can find me.
Very cool. So Nick, what's up with Practically Tactical?
Well, we just last week we released a show. Actually, John was on it. John, Adam Peeney, and Sam from Range Time. We graded gun manufacturers and the gun industry. That was a really awesome episode, very popular. And then this coming week, we are releasing episode 36 with retired Navy SEAL, owner of Trident Fitness Tactical, Rich Graham. awesome guy, awesome episode, really interesting guy.
I've heard a lot of
And,
good things about him.
He's just a straightforward, humble dude. Like, he was literally like at the top, 1% of elite, people in the world, and he's just an absolutely humble dude, just awesome guy. And then we have Steve Fisher, Sentinel Concepts, formerly of Magpul Dynamics, on the show coming up. We have Mike Lamb from Stoic Ventures coming up, and then we have episode 40, which is going to be an insanely insane show with John and a whole cast of characters coming up. So
It will be nothing but shenanigans, and we are going to try to make Nick squirm as much as possible. I
So in
asked
other
him
words-
earlier.
I'm sorry, Jake.
I said that he showed me who all was going to be on the show, and I said, dude, this is going to be a just absolutely raucous event. He said, yeah, but I think it'll be okay. So we'll see.
It's gonna be like
It'll
a
be
Juggalo
fun.
convention.
It will not be like a juggalo. How dare you? How dare you compare me to a juggalo?
I'm not saying you. I'm saying everybody.
Yeah. That's not. No. You take that back right now.
Okay. In other news, Practically Tacticals aired its last episode.
Yep. We hit 40 and wrapped it up.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, speaking of wrapping up, you can leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this video or on the bottom of the show notes. This week's show notes will be at thisweekinguns.com/076. And please also leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe at thisweekinguns.com/iTunes. And also don't forget to click on those affiliate banners on Firearms Radio Network and on This Week in Guns, whether it's Brownells or Amazon. Helps out the show a little bit. So, well, thanks again, John. Thanks again, Nick.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely, same.
We'll see you next week.